Hey, Facebook, it's Audra R. Upchurch. And I want to ask, have you ever been in a relationship that you thought was just, going to make it, that you thought, okay, this is my guy. You thought, this is my guy. I've met the one, and then been sadly disappointed. Have you ever, met someone and you thought this was just Mr. Right? Everything was perfect. All the stars were aligned just right. And then a few months in, a few weeks in, sometimes even a few days in, you realize Mr. Right is Mr. What in the world? Well, you're not alone. And tonight we're going to talk about it. And I'm really excited because we're on the cusp of an amazing webinar I'm about to put on this week called How to Get the Love You Want from a Man. And tonight we're going to start the process. Tonight we're going to talk about the women men marry. So as you pop into the broadcast, let me know if you are single by putting a number 1 in the comments. Or let me know if you are married by putting a number 2 in the comments. And if you're in a relationship, put a number 3 in the comments. Now, we're not going to do that whole it's complicated thing. That we're not going to do. Okay? So we're not going to go there. And make sure my volume is right. Okay, there we go. So we're not going to go there with the whole it's complicated thing. So if you're single, as you jump in the broadcast, give me a number 1. If you're married, give me a number 2. And if you're in a relationship, give me a number 3. And we're going to cut it off right there. Because this conversation is one that has to be had. Because too many of us, too many women are walking around frustrated and discouraged. As you join the broadcast, I want you to share this out because I truly believe that this one is meant to bless someone in particular. So earlier today, I had a conversation with someone. She gave me a call. She was really frustrated and really upset. So she's 50 years old, and she found out that someone that she really cared about, someone she thought was the one, was not being quite truthful with her. And so she felt like, okay, I'm 50 years old. Why am I still going through drama like I'm 20 years old? Like, why are these things happening? And she was really hard on herself. And women, come on, can you relate? I think a lot of us internalize what happens to us in relationships. We put all the blame on us when things happen. And she's no different. So I had to say, wait a minute, let me ask you a couple of questions before you spend our whole time beating yourself up. First, I asked her, so when you met this guy, did you know he was a liar? And she said, no, I didn't know that. I said, okay. Let me ask you these other 2 questions. I said, so you didn't know he was a liar. Did you know, have you ever been in a healthy relationship? Do you know what that looks like? And she said, She thought about that. And I said, okay. Have you ever been taught what a healthy relationship looks like? And it was no surprise that her answer to all 3 were the same. It was no. Ladies, a lot of times we beat ourselves up by the decisions we make in our relationships. But here's the thing. You don't know what you don't know, right? She couldn't continue to beat herself up because this man lied to her, because you don't meet someone thinking they're a liar, right? You don't meet someone thinking that they're going to be untruthful. But she also couldn't beat herself up because this relationship didn't turn out any different than her previous relationships, because she had never been in a healthy relationship. How many of you realize that knowing how to be in a healthy relationship is not intuitive? It's not something that you grow up just knowing, right? I mean, if it was, would the divorce rate be so high? And unfortunately, many of us didn't grow up in households where we saw healthy relationships, nor were we taught what they looked like, nor were we taught how to be in a healthy relationship. So again, how could she beat herself up when she didn't know? So after we had our conversation, she felt a little better, and she was pretty stoked. She was pretty excited to know that the webinar for how to get the love you want from a man was starting this week. And then her happiness went to fear because her schedule being as it is, she couldn't be on at 9 p.m. So I did explain to her that anyone that registers will get the training via email, have access for 30 days. So she exhaled, right? And at least her day ended with some hope, because she started off in a bad way. And I mean, we've all been there. We've all been there where we've given everything we have in relationships, and we think we've met the person that we've met our person, right? Met our person that's going to be the one we walk this life with. And when that doesn't happen, we feel like, what's wrong with me? Am I enough? And we start to question our own value. We start to question our womanhood. And we start to question, will we ever find love? So tonight, I want to share with you why this is so important and why we understand the type of woman that a man wants to marry. So I'm not going to be before you long. I'm watching the time. So I have about another 10 minutes. You know, I also didn't see healthy relationships growing up. You know, I think it was kind of indicated by my first marriage, which was a mess. You know, thankfully, this time around, I made better decisions, right? And congratulations to me. We'll be married 5 years next month, right? 5 years. And I am excited because I love him even more today than I did 5 years ago. And more importantly, I love myself more today than I did even 5 years ago. And that's truly growth for me. You know, it took me learning what a healthy relationship looked like first before I could ever embark on having it. And in order to do that, I had to admit that I didn't know, and I had to be willing to learn. And I had to be willing to let go of beliefs that I held on to. You know, it's funny how we hold on to ideas that we grow up with. We hold on to these concepts of what a relationship is, and we don't want to let them go, even though those beliefs have never served us. It's just kind of weird how we do that, right? So I was no different. But one day I had enough. If you know what I'm talking about and you've come to the point where you've had enough, put in the comments, I've had enough. And I came to the point one day where I had enough, and I made some different choices. But before I got there, I want to tell you a story about a woman who thought she knew what a man wanted and found out the hard way that she didn't. So when I was growing up, there was a young man that I knew. He was a pretty upstanding dude. You know, he wasn't one of them guys that was running around acting all crazy. He was pretty on the up and up, right? Especially for someone in his early 20s back in the day. So he was engaged to someone for 3 years. Somebody say 36 months. That's a long time, especially when you're in your 20s, okay? 3 years is a lifetime. So he was engaged to this woman for 3 years. And one day he went out with his boys, and he wasn't even a clubber, right? He wasn't the kind of guy that went to all the parties or anything. He was kind of say he was a nerd, right? Hopefully he won't see this broadcast. But you can kind of say he was a nerd. So he went out with his boys, went to the club, and lo and behold, he met this woman. And he immediately fell in love. Now, this upstanding dude that had been with his girl for 3 years immediately cut her off. A month later, him and this woman moved in together, the new boo that he met at the club. And it was about 8 months later when they got married. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's been about 25 years. They are still married, and they are still in love. Now, I remember during that time, I was perplexed because, you know, to me, He was an upstanding guy. And I'm thinking, how could you do this to this woman that's waited for you for 3 years? She knew she was the one. Like, how could you? And I remember him saying to me, look, Audra, when a man knows he's found the one, he goes after it. When a man knows that it's a woman that he's supposed to be with, he doesn't hesitate. And that stuck with me for a long time. You know, I've always kept that in the back of my mind. Maybe that's why I never did the whole long engagement type of thing. Because when a man wants you, you know. And I remember him saying to me, if you have to ask a man if he wants you, then he doesn't. Because when a man wants you, you know. And unfortunately for his ex, she gave 3 years of her life. Could you imagine how she walked away from that relationship feeling about herself, about relationships, and about life? You know, it's so important as women that we learn and we truly understand what it is men are looking for in relationships. And that's why Thursday is just going to be life-changing for so many women. You know, the 3 men that I'm bringing before you guys during the webinar, how to get the love you want from a man. You know, these are not just 3 ordinary dudes that I picked off the street, okay? These are licensed therapists. In fact, 2 have their PhDs. So not only do they understand how men think, because they are men, they also have the clinical background behind it. And I truly believe it's going to be life-changing for you ladies who participate. You know, and it's open to all you guys too, by the way. The link is in the up here in the comments. So if you didn't grab it, you can go ahead and register. And in fact, tonight I'm going to have a discount. It's going to be $20 just for today, and tomorrow the price goes up. So, but it's going to be truly life-changing. And as I approach my 5th anniversary, you know, when you find love, you want everybody to find love. I had no idea how my participation, how I showed up in relationships. I had no idea the impact and the way I was destroying relationships before they even got started. I had no idea. You know, it would have been very easy for me to continue to blame the men that I dated for the state my relationships wound up in. I am just so thankful that I took the time to learn. I took the time to be taught, and I was willing to say, I don't know it all. But honey, when you know better, you do better. And when I finally learned the tools to have a successful relationship, it resulted in me meeting the man of my dreams, who's in the room right behind me. Yeah, he put a ring on it. And it truly, it makes me wonder, like, what would have happened? Where would our relationship be had I not taken the time to learn what it was like, what it's like to have a healthy relationship? Had I not said, teach me, I'm willing to learn, show me, I don't know. You know, and that's exactly what these women are doing that will be a part of the webinar on Thursday, how to get the love you want from a man. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited for you. And I'm excited for me as I approach my 5th anniversary. You know, this life that I'm living is one I never thought I would have. And without being educated, without admitting I needed help, it would have never happened. So the next time you are frustrated, you are disappointed, you are discouraged in the relationship that you're in, take a moment to ask yourself some hard questions. Now, if you are fortunate enough, if you are smart enough, if you are quick enough to register before it fills up for the webinar on Thursday at 9 p.m., you'll have access for the next 30 days to watch this webinar sessions over and over and let it sink in, let it really take root and make the necessary changes so you can truly thrive, not just only in your relationships, but thrive in your life. Because what we're going to be talking about is not reserved for just those that are single. It's for anyone who truly wants to have love and a successful relationship and thrive in their life. I am Audra Upchurch, founder of Freedom to Thrive, host of the Fierce Freedom Summit. And I truly look forward to hanging out with you guys Thursday night at 9 p.m. because it is going to be live. Straight, no chaser. How to get the love you want from a man. Make sure you share this broadcast out because let's change someone's life. Have a great night, guys. Bye.